The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Right, thanks all for joining us. Thanks for I guess this is the third part in the webinar series, so I appreciate everybody attending. We're about 8:30 at the moment. So what we'll do is we'll get started. It seems to be a nice number of you here. So right, okay. So thanks for joining us. I've also got a colleague of mine, Axel, with us, who
Hi
will
everyone.
be
Yeah.
Axel. We will be we'll be presenting together. So I'll do a quick summary, and what we'll do is we'll try and readily and speedily get over to Axel to show you some exciting demonstrations that we've got organized for yourselves. So what I'll do is I'll jump through. So what we're hoping to cover today is really focusing on, like we've done before, but in this session, we'll focus on the automation. So for those who haven't been part of the previous two sessions, I'll give you a quick summary as to what the sessions are all about, and then we'll jump into some demonstrations from Axel, who will focus on sort of smart invoicing using our Compleo suite within SAP. So for those who haven't been part of previous sessions, it's probably worth noting that we are a long-standing organization, has been around probably closer to 35 years now, with a large install base of over sort of 3,000, 4,000 now customers, and across the world as well, and focusing on all the mega vendors as shown here. So this is the regular slide, which for me is an exciting slide because it covers all the important elements around challenges, especially around document processes in this new digital economy. So we've covered in previous sessions most of these areas, and what I would like to do during this session, which will be outlined by Axel, is really focus on the automation. So we've seen how this all applies, how quickly you can make changes, how you can distribute to different sort of formats and devices. And now we'll focus on essentially streamlining and making this automation process as quick and simple as we can. So going through the usual introduction, and really what I'm hoping for this session to be focused on isn't the incessant need to have batch processes around invoicing and collection, to actually make it or essentially automate it. So what that means for everybody and those watching, hopefully, is that this doesn't need to be a weekly process or a monthly process. This can be done automatically by just generating and using our software to control all the requirements around reducing costs and transparency and so on, as well as making it easy for all the people within your organization and outside your organization to engage with you, whether that's receiving invoices or paying invoices. So again, this is a slide making the whole process as automated as possible, focusing on, as we've done in the previous session. For those who attended the session, please be aware that I re-recorded the session, so it's worth going back to session 2 of 3 just to really see the whole workflow. Axel will be focusing on the workflow as a key element within his demonstration, but feel free to go back and look at that because that has been re-recorded. And that's mainly to show the workflow and the digital signature and how that all works, both from inside the organization and outside in. So people essentially submitting invoices. So what we'll cover, and I'll hand over to Axel now, and he'll go through his demonstration, and I'll leave you in his capable hands. So over to you, Axel.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin, for this introduction. So let's see together a quick introduction to explain the automation process. So for the next example, I use a spool file extract from the SAP system with your project Compleo supervisor. So it's with him that we will demonstrate that you can manage any business document like you want. Okay, start now with the easy example to remember how it works. So I go here. Okay, so we are in the SAP system. We will here generate a customer invoice. So to make that, we need to choose before an output device. So here you can choose output device, or you can make a start to have the list of all your output device you have directly. So here you have the list, a big list, and you need to know all this list we need to configure it previously, and you can find all this printer in the supervisor. So in the supervisor, like you see in the configuration, we have a list of virtual printer we created in the Compleo supervisor. If I click on one, for example, the SAP solution one, here I have a list of the scenario. A scenario is a list. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. A scenario is a succession of action with, if you want, you can add some condition over the complex processes what we do. So you can add some condition about a spool title, about a spool user, or about a priority. And about the command, you can run some templates you have with Compleo, for example, Compleo layout template or designer, or you can send a mail or everything you want. So after make this configuration, you just need to come back directly in the SAP, choose the output device and execute the command. So after that, we will generate the customer invoice, and you just need to push directly on the print button. Really easy. So normally the file is detected directly by the supervisor. You can see here, and it will processing. And after that, normally we receive some 6 email directly in your mailbox. So if I go in my mailbox, no, look. Yeah, little long. Okay, during the writing, I show you another. If maybe it's more quick. Okay, nice. So here normally we receive. It's long. Yeah, we receive 6 email. Each one with different language, because in the scenario we won't send for each next 6 customer an email for each language he have. We have one in English, we have in French, we have in Spanish. So yeah, here it's a easy use. So let's go see something more complex with the reviewing demo. So last time, normally, during the last webinar, we introduced you the workflow idea behind your project reviewer. Just before to explain how the workflow question works in Compleo, I want to make a quick reminder about all of this. So in the Compleo environment, we use the workflow to have a better trackability to each business document you have. So for example, if you have an RIP user make an order, you need to know the processing state of his order and his current step, for example, pending step, pay step, deliver step. So in the reviewer demo we present before last month, we have two runs in the workflow. One with the order made by the ERP user until the supervisor, the supplier, to receive directly the invoice, passing through the validation by a manager or a director. It depends the amount of the order. And we have another run. We start with the invoice edition directly by the supplier after receive the order until the payment by the accounting departure. So with validation with the manager to say, yeah, I received the invoice, you can pay it. So come back in the SAP system. We take a standard PO like everyone, and we just, like before, print a preview about this. So we directly run this like before. We will generate the spool file directly sent in the supervisor, and normally it's processing directly by him. And normally we receive a first step of the reviewing document here by your manager. So to make that, and to manage all the workflow, in the supervisor, you have a special tab called Upload and Review. And here you have a list of all workflow you have on your system. So you can create some workflow, you can edit him. Just before edit, you need to disable him before. So for example, if I take the actual upload review, I just edit it. And here you have 4 tabs. You have a 4 about just a name, give a name about your workflow, a description to remember what is the goal of him. You have an activity tab about to create some new review activity. So it's a group of action activity, and in each action activity, you can define again name, description. You can add some condition, like before I show you in the scenario, to say, yeah, you can process if all the validation are valid. I won't have a special customer name to make this action. You have another tab to add some action. For example, I won't send a mail as the special customer because I won't have a reminder about something. And yeah, after that, you can add some variable to get some information from your different templates in layout, in designer or explorer. I don't know, for example, you don't know in advance the name of your future customer, and you want get it to add in your mail, future mail in the body mail, so you can get. And you have a tab for the query variable if you want to have a query directly in your database. If you have, I don't know, a dynamic information because I don't know, the order, you are in Amazon and you know your order can be changed anytime, so you want directly inform your database, so it can be really useful sometimes. Yeah, and to use all this workflow after it's created in your supervisor, you just need to go, for example, in the Compleo layout, go in the process runtime here, and you need to create just a Compleo with your run mode. You click on it. Here you can choose if you want to upload the document at the end of the template or maybe another document. It depends like you want. Here you make the configuration about your supervisor. And here you can directly select all your workflow you create on your system. And here you have the different variable you can enable and you can fill by the all variable you are in your tablet. So yeah, really useful, and sometimes it can be really help you. So after this demo, we have one more thing to see together. So get back to you, Kevin.
Right, thanks ever so much, Axel, for that. Much appreciated. Right, we're on to a successful sort of part of our development over the last sort of year or so. It's really still innovation, so within the industry, it's how we connect with SAP Cloud and clearly the SAP Document Center. So I'll give you a bit of background why. So where we're coming from, there's a lot of impact within sort of SAP and moving to the cloud and so on. We very much see our connections into the SAP environment expanding. So we're getting closer and closer each and every day to SAP and their latest developments. And what I'd like to touch on at the moment is how that can impact yourself. So this is essentially a summary of how we can connect with SAP and others and what we can do within your organization. So moving documents around and essentially allocate and then add signatures and make it accessible for everybody, as well as sort of move it on to a different process as well. So looking back, or looking up as it were even, the SAP Cloud solutions are clearly being promoted and encouraged, both within the industry and by SAP themselves. And obviously a lot of their development and future development is going to be on these sort of infrastructures as well. So as we're all aware, there's different forms of clouds. There's public clouds, there's private clouds, and there's an SAP cloud platform. And what we're allowing through our solution is not just connecting with the actual public clouds and the private clouds, but also having a strong connection with the SAP PaaS environment. And what could that mean for yourself? So clearly, SAP are encouraging all the users and new users to make full use of that environment, and we doing so as well in integrating our solutions. So how does it integrate? This is an overview as to how we connect with the SAP environment and what Supervisor does, which Axel demonstrated, and how it controls that. And as you can see below, there's an invoice, and that was emailed, and we were all sort of aware of that process that we've seen on throughout the series. And how does that impact you? So how do we then connect with the SAP Document Center? So throughout the workflows, we've shown you connect with our archiving solution, and Axel will now show how easy it is for us to change that. So what I'll do is I'll pass it back to Axel, who can go through a nice special innovative demonstration for those who are interested. So over to you, Axel.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Yeah, so take again, if you want, take again the Fly and Smile demonstration I presented you before. So here we have a Fly and Smile demonstration, and I just changed spoof file title to manage the special demonstration in Supervisor. So like before, I just execute him. Yeah, nice. I just print in. And this time we just want to archive a customer invoice we are going to generate in the cloud solution, like for example here, SAP Document Center. So you need to know it's really easy and simple to do this in Compleo. So to make that, you just need to go in your run mode and add a special archive process. For example, a send to SAP Document Center, or maybe you want directly archive in the archiver. So make an archive with Compleo archiver, and you just need to add this, configure your SAP Document Center connection, and choose where you want to storage this. So it's really, really simple. So if you see directly the little scenario I created before, so here I receive a mail directly with, you see the name of the customer. You have two links, one link to find directly your document in the archiver. Here, really storage. You see the font really changed like before. Before you have just a spool file. We apply a layout template so we can change many things here. And you have another link here to directly send your document in the SAP Document Center. If I click on it, if you want. Yeah, nice. You can find your document in your special folder you created before, and with the name like you want. You can, I don't know, order all your invoice by the customer name, by the customer number, or like you want. Your possibility is really infinite. You can make every want you want. Yeah. So finally, in this mail, I want to say you find all the gain Compleo can give you. So you have the trackability with reviewer I presented you before. You have the accessibility and the data protection with Akava. You have the reliability and efficiency with Supervisor. And the most important, you have the scalability and the versatility with Compleo Layout and Explorer. So thank you for your time. During this demo, we see together a classic use of Supervisor with the scenario creation, more detail about workflow, and a simple way to send a business document directly into your SAP Document Center or in your project Archival. So that's it for me.
Great, thanks ever so much, Axel, for that. So what we'll do is we'll quickly go through a conclusion. So I appreciate all those who've been part of this series, and what I'll like to do now is to go through a quick conclusion, which I've done before in differing sort of focuses. So during this specific webinar, we hopefully showed how easy it is to automate the whole distribution process of documents, in this case invoices. So what we're wanting you again to focus on is to not think batch but to think automation. So focusing on those processes within your organization and not just relying on manual processes that need to be batch run, but allowing Compleo to actually do that for you. And what Axel went through in relation to the workflows, making that web accessibility possible to allow all members of the team to have access to those documents through a web portal and the workflow, and how to make essentially corrections or amendments to that quite simply. And then going through essentially our nice niche solution for yourselves, the innovation that our developers have been working so hard on, and essentially expanding that development we've done in the past around the SAP connection, and allowing smooth integration to your SAP solutions and the processes, as well as differing types of platforms as well, whether that be on-premise or, in this specific example, cloud platforms. So that leaves me to focus on a couple of last points, more of a reminder than anything else, that please feel free to download the Compleo suite and schedule a demo with ourselves, and we'll go through your specific example. And please feel free to use our calculators, which, as sort of the images suggest, really helps calculate the benefits for your organization and your scalability around using a solution like ourselves. And then the last reminder to say the workshops for the document process automation are scheduled for the 22nd of June in our London office. So feel free to bring a colleague to essentially, it's designed to be a whiteboard exercise where we'll get a whole group of people involved who are interested to talk about the subject, and indeed whiteboard the ideas and the new innovations, and any essentially a Q&A session for all those who are interested to learn more, and would like to welcome you to our London office. So with that, I'd like to open up the questions. I don't think many. Apologies, I didn't remind everybody at the beginning to go through the chat section. So what we'll do is, if there's any questions that come through, we'll get back to you in due course, obviously. But feel free to contact me. And if there's any technical questions, clearly Axel can be involved as well. Should you have any questions directed at him. And I guess it leaves us to thank you guys for all attending the webinar, and thank you, Axel, for for doing the demonstrations and going through quite simply and smoothly what's involved around automating your document process flows. And what I'd like to, as a last reminder, please do feel free to download Compleo Suite from our website, and also share this session and the webinar series to your colleagues and all those who might think interested. So we'd like to close off this webinar and thank everybody for attending, and hope to speak to you in the future. So all the best. Thank you very much.